Well, welcome to the Friday Bubble. We've been absent over the winter because there haven't been that many launches, but I'm super excited to bring you news of Charles Heidsieck 2018, and who better to help me take us through the journey of these two new vintages than the winemaker, Elise Losfelt. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Nick. And
Great.
how are you?
Very well. Well, I'm much better for being back, actually. So we've got two great vintages. Charles has gone from 13, hasn't it, on the Blanc?
Yes.
And 12 on the Rosé. So now we're back to 18s. 2018 as a vintage was fascinating. It came after a year everyone tries to forget. And of course, 18 came along, plenty of volume. And the average, I think, was about 12,500 kilos. So quite generous.
Yes.
The actual harvest for a lot of houses was much higher than that. So there was plenty of wine to replace some of the less good 2017s.
Yes.
So, but I remember it from Van Clair days, from being immediately fruit forward. I don't know what, those early experiences of the wine.
The season 2018 is definitely a season that drives us to a lot of fruits, and a lot of fruits that will mature during August. It's one of the earliest harvests that we had
Right.
in the 20s and in the 90s also. It's a harvest that arrives after a really, really warm summer that is even warmer than the summer 2003 that everybody remembers. So it made that the grapes have developed a lot of mature aromas, lost quite a lot of acidity. It's a low acidity in average for 2018. It's a high potential alcohol for the Champagne region, so it's really mature grapes. A nice quantity, a super quality still, no problem with any disease, no problem with development of aromas that we don't want to have, like 17. So it's definitely a harvest that the Champagne remembers, and that we wanted to remember as a vintage, like a lot of houses. The particularity of 18 for Charles Heidsieck will be that we have selected a particular cru in the blend to make sure that we keep some of the freshness that we could have in the Champagne region in some crus that suffered actually from desiccation,
Right.
that permitted to reconcentrate the acidity. And you will find on the palate, you will find on the nose all the maturation of the aromas, easiness, fruitfulness. It's a direct champagne. And on the mouth, yes, of course, you have the generosity of 2018 that fits perfectly well with the style of Charles Heidsieck, but you have also a lift and some acidity, nice, soft acidity that permits to hold everything up together.
It's interesting. You have a
glass.
Yes. Cheers. I tasted this about an hour ago, and straight after opening, it was very much the Pinot Noir. Was dominating. It is 45% Chardonnay and 55 Pinot, so the Pinot is dominant. But in the last hour, I see all those yellow fruits have kind of come out. And there's lots of lovely citrus and grapefruit in here now.
Yeah.
It's kind of quite, and although it was quite a low acidity year, the average was quite low.
Yes.
That doesn't seem to be an issue here.
No, it doesn't. There's the Pinot Noir, like every vintage in Charles Heidsieck, we have a domination in the blend of Pinot Noir. Here the Pinot Noir come from mainly Toxières.
Right.
Toxières is one of the crus that always is there in the blends of the vintages of Charles.
Okay.
Toxières is a particular cru that permits to hold freshness and permits to construct the structure on the palate. We have some Pinot Noir coming from Ambonnay. And there is a particularity in the blend is that for the vintages, there's a little bit of liberty in the choice of crus.
Right.
And the Chardonnays mainly come from Trini. Trini is from north of Reims, and is a terroir where the vines sit mainly on the ground that is a soil that is made with a little bit of sand.
Right.
And that didn't hold a lot of water during the summer, and and enhanced the desiccation due to the warm summer, and that permitted to have this concentration of acidity and also of
because that's
aroma.
fascinating. As you're telling me that little story, I'm sitting here going, well, there seems to be plenty of acidity. If you look at the average for the region, it was quite low. But I wonder, Toxières is a later ripening village, a little bit cooler.
Yes, exactly.
So you've got all sorts of things I think have really helped this this wine.
Yeah, to keep some freshness. Again, freshness in the champagne doesn't come only from acidity. You have also, and you feel it, and it's also a signature of Charles Heidsieck, this saline bitterness in the finish that permits to have some freshness also. The saline bitterness, as I told you, is a signature of Charles Heidsieck, so you can find it in our non-vintage, in our vintage champagnes. And here it permits to hold together the champagne that is generous, mature aromas, but the texture holds it, acid and saline bitterness.
And I think the Lees aging, this was bottled obviously in the spring of 19,
yes.
disgorged in 24. So that 5 years seemed to have worked rather nicely. And it's great to see this, because I like the freshness in this. The Prullier didn't need any more Lees time. Now, to have a little fun comparison, I love the colour. You've just got this little gentle hint of colour.
Yes.
Now, tell me about the red wine, because this isn't done from maceration. This is done by a percentage of red wine being added.
Yes, exactly. But the red wine is made from maceration. We make the red wine. It's a red macerated red wine, classical way of doing red wine. But we have separately when we do the blends of the vintage, but also of the non-vintage. We have separately the white wines and the red wines. For the vintage rosé here, it's 8% of red wine in the blend, and coming really mainly from Bouzy.
Wow. It brings a spice, and
yes.
I think that's one of the characteristics, isn't it, really, of Bouzy. I think it has that always get ripeness in the Pinot, but I think there's a lovely little hint of not pepper, but a sort of spiciness in there.
Yeah. To describe really briefly the rosé vintage,
yes.
What we try to elaborate when we create the blend of the rosé vintage is a gastronomical champagne. The idea is to put a circle in a square, or the other way around. The two of it, the two things are complicated to do. Here maybe we have the round that is a little bit around the square, but the round is really representing the style of Charles, the generosity, the aromatics that are quite giving you already
super expressive, aren't
exactly, super expressive. And then the square is the texture that is around, and here we are going to find some phenolics, and we are looking for that in the selection of the red wine to really create this slight, I don't know how to describe it in English, finish that makes your saliva come out.
Yes, salivating. It's I think it's rather beautiful like that. There's amazing freshness in this. And obviously it's a little bit more Pinot because of the red wine.
Yes.
A little bit less Chardonnay. Yes. They're like completely two different wines, which I rather love.
Yeah. It's a first for Charles Heidsieck to showcase at the same moment, exactly at the same moment, the rosé and the blanc of the same vintage. It's the first time that it happens.
Now, a quick question. Will this rosé wine age?
Yes.
It's a slightly leading question.
Yes. Yes, it will age. Like everything. Everything will age.
I'm being a bit naughty because just the other day, I was lucky enough to taste the 1988 Charles Rosé. Recently disgorged from memory in like 21, I think.
Yes.
And it had just become such an elegant wine. Bubbles had softened, everything had softened, and you just get all those lovely dried red, beautiful fruits. It was a beautiful glass. So that was my mischievous question, because one of the great things for me is that how well the Charles wines age, and especially the rosés, I think.
Yes.
If you can be patient.
So yes, of course it will age. When we taste the wine in the group of winemakers that work for Charles Heidsieck, We evaluate the time of aging with the original disgorgement that we think about, and we have forecasts for the moment 15 years for both of them, being already quite open, but the structure is there, so 15 years seems to be the right
sweet
right
spot.
amount of time. Yes.
Okay. The rosé is tasting fabulous. There's so much fruit coming out to me. The raspberry, the dark cherry, the little bit of spice in here. You'd almost think there's a hint of like toasty oak in there. But I think that's the sort of just ripeness of the fruit, isn't it?
Yes. There's
Delicious.
no oak in the vintage.
No
There's
oak.
oak in our non-vintage, 10 to 15% of the blend, but vintage, no oak. 100% stainless steel.
Well, it's tradition when we do these videos to pick a favourite to have with dinner.
Ah.
Now,
Okay.
you're the chef de carte, so I can't put you under too much pressure. I know which one I'm having for dinner. Which one
I
are
know
you
which one
taking?
you're having for dinner.
I'm seduced by the sexiness of the rosé. I think it's really quite expressive and it's drinking beautifully now. But you might see past me being excited by that side of it. But
So the problem is if we're having dinner together, we're gonna have to have 2 bottles because I'm going for the white.
perfect answer.
Cheers.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us and
pleasure.
telling that story so well. I'm super excited that these are now available. Cheers, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Cheers. Thank
Thank
you.
you.